Hello, welcome back. So, today we're talking about the balance update coming on Tuesday. So, if you're subscribed to the newsletter, which if you're not, I would highly recommend you do, they've released info about the balance update coming out. So, it's been in the works for quite a while. I've I'm in playtest, so I've been testing all these changes for a while. So, I'm gonna do, at least to start, I'm gonna make 3 videos. The first one, which you're watching right now, I'm going to be going over all the buffs that are coming, all in general, all the positives from this update. The next one, which I'll just make as soon as I'm done making this video, is going over the nurse and overall just what I don't like about this update. And then the third one will be okay, here's all the information we know. Here's what you need to do, like what changes you might need to make. So yeah, let's jump right into the newsletter. All right, so we got the newsletter here. I'm gonna be skipping over most of this standardization stuff. Stealth got to rework, taunt got to rework. If you want to pause and read, or just go check out the newsletter yourself, I'd encourage that. Um, just one note real quick: all EMP, stun, and disable have all been renamed to disable. And so disabled, the target cannot walk, cannot use normal attacks, and cannot use special abilities. So just we're gonna see the word disable a lot going throughout this. Just want to clear that up. Again, more standardization stuff with ticks and all that. So first bot here, I'll be going over all of the bots I'm about to mention on Tuesday when the update goes live. But for now, I'll just share the ability as it's public information. So Powerglide's ability is pretty cool. So it starts at 3 ability points, drop a bomb that deals normal damage to the target, pretty normal. Then on the next use, it goes up to 4 ability points. Bomb also hits adjacent targets. Nice. The next use, 5 ability points. Disable all targets for 10 seconds. Nice. And then at 6 ability points, bomb deals 1.25 damage. And then I believe at ability 11 goes up to 1.75 times, which is, again, nice. And then G1 is playing. Nice. So next we have Computron. He has a 5-star coming. I believe this is coming on Tuesday as well. I need to double check that, but we already know he's coming. But here's the 5-star ability: create a cryo blizzard for 15 seconds in a small area, dealing cryo damage per second to buildings or cryo damage per second to bots. Enemies hit by the blizzard suffer minus 90% attack and move speed for 15 seconds. And after death, grant your team hack immunity for 15 seconds. And then next we have Trax. So I'm very excited about this. I've been playing around with him in playtest for probably a few weeks now at least, and I'm very happy about it. He's very cool. One of my favorite bots. He's been in my work teams for like gotta be over 5 years now. Like I love him so much. So very happy about this. Next we have Omega Supreme. So he's kind of getting a little buff to match him with Ruination, sort of. He might actually be stronger. I'll go into that later. So Glass Gas Ball, cooldown 15 seconds, visual effects updated, and the range and target count increased. Nice. Rage Rush, countdown from reduced from 15 seconds to 10. Cool. Guardian's Blessing. This is, I'll go into this again on Tuesday when I can show what's went live, but DPS increased from 50% to 75%. That may not sound like a lot, but it does. I love this ability rework so much. I'm a huge fan. Outer Space, same as usual. So yeah, strong ability, didn't get any changes. Next, we have Ultra Magnus. Also a huge fan. Again, show footage on Tuesday. But for now, the ability: launch a projectile at a distant target, dealing normal damage. On impact, it explodes, dealing electric damage in a small radius, and leaves a trail that inflicts electric damage per second to any enemies it passes through for 7 seconds. And then at ability 11, that 7 seconds gets increased to 14. So I am a huge fan of this change. I love the character. I have for a while, and I'm glad to see him getting some love. Again, footage on Tuesday. The new war effects. So basically, with all the changes, they're giving us some time to adjust our squads because spoiler alert, with the nerfs, they're getting the meta's war squads are getting hit pretty hard. So I forget which is from hard mode and which is prime effects in the current live, but basically it's 25% health and damage for all defenses. So the new war effects goes down to 10%, and then except for the shield gen, sorry, except for the shield gen and MDS, which are the same 25%. So yeah, that'll make it a little easier to adjust. I'll go into more thoughts on that later. Double war rewards. It's okay, I guess. Personally, I love war. It's really the main thing keeping me engaged into the game. I don't really care about the rewards. I wish they were better, but I don't know. Double shitty rewards isn't really great to be, but yeah. Then now we'll jump to the Google Doc with more information. So now I just kind of talk. I'm not going to show gameplay of all these as there's so many, and for most of these, you can just kind of use your imagination. You know what they do already. So yeah, it's a long list. Let's get into it. So Jazz cost decreased from 9.9 plus 3 to 7 plus 3. Range up from 23 to 25. And ability 11 now deals electric damage per second for 6 seconds. It's pretty cool. I don't think it'll bring him into the War Squad meta or anything, but yeah, fun event bot, I guess. Springer, healing now targets themselves and allies. Previous only allies, so that's a pretty nice change. I'm happy about that. Defensive perimeter set to 4 plus 2 instead of 4 plus 4. And you got a range increase from 14 to 18. That's nice. I know there's a lot of Springer fans, so they'll be happy to hear that. Blaster, I'm happy about this. I'm a Blaster fan. Increased health and damage by 5%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but his minions, so that's his minions got like a 10% buff basically, because they each have half of his health and damage pretty much. Actually, wait. Yeah, 10%, 2.5. Yeah, okay. And then personally, I think this is my favorite buff of the entire update, Brainstorm. So visual effects updated, speed buff duration rounded from 5.5 to 6 seconds. Honestly, I'm not sure what that really means. And then cost decreased from 6.6 plus 3 to 4 plus 3. I love this so much. He's more in line with Air Raid now. And so his ability is now Cryo, and Static Bomb is now Cryo Bomb, and reduces both attack and move speed. They didn't mention this, but it's getting buffed from 16.5 seconds to 18, so I love that. I love him in the live server right now, so I'm thrilled to. I'll probably start using him more in wars. Again, I'll go into more details about that later. Braun. So real quick, so basically with the new disable up rework, resource buildings can no longer be disabled, which means Braun can no longer hurt them. So Braun, he improved rocket bounce targeting logic, now prefers defenses within range. So that's nice. That'll make sure his bounce doesn't go to a resource building, which he just can't damage. So I love that. BW Ramp, BW Prowl, both abilities now do fire damage. Cool. Ability now grants plus 10% permanent health rather than a flat number. Cool. I think there's quite a few bots in here that don't have a 5-star version, and it's cool, but like, I'm still not going to use them. So if you are using them in events or something, it's cool, I guess. But again, I'll recap it all at the end. I have thoughts on that. Cheetor added overkill protection to G1. I'm pretty sure he's like just invulnerable now while below 30% health, so that's cool. And health increased by 20%, and cost reduction from 4 plus 2 to 3 plus 2. Love that. He's a fun bot. He's kind of fallen out of the meta because he just gets shredded, but for events, still super fun. I love that change. Chromia, I hope this brings her back into the defensive meta. She's pretty strong. Ability 11 Towers Glass Gas effect increased from 25% to 60. That's a lot. An extra 35%. That's huge. Disable is now 3 seconds, not 2. And the 4-star tower ability 1 to 10 from 50% to 75%. And ability 11 to 75% to 100. 5-star ability 1 to 10 from 75 to 100. Ability 11 100 to 130. That's cool. Cliff Jumper, ability cost reduced from 4 plus 1 to 3 plus 1. He's still ass. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna try and say this is a cool change. He's gonna be useful. No, he's still ass. There's no way around it, to be honest. Computron, Cryo Rush. It now applies damage plus slow for 10 seconds. Cool. Electrical Optics, inflicts electric DPS for 8 seconds. Cool. And the new Blizzard that we already went over. Again, I'll show footage of this. I'll just say for now, I'm a huge fan of Computron's 5-star. I've been having a lot of fun with them. Dinobot, decoy count from 3 to 4, and decoys taunt every second. Self-heal buff raised from 20 to 35%. So that's... I'm a big Dinobot fan already. So that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't think it'll bring him into the war meta, but still a great buff. Drift now grants movement speed increase in addition to attack. Cool. Dust Up, just a Cliff Jumper. Its ability cost reduced from 3 plus 1 to 3 plus 0, and a tooltip update. Cool. I guess he's still ass, or I think it's a she. Yeah, she's still ass. I'm not gonna try and say he's good now. She's good now. Alita, I love this decrease from 8 plus 3 to 6 plus 3. Yeah, just love that. Her cost has been outdated for quite a while now, so hopefully we'll get more use out of her, which is awesome. I'm a big fan of her. I think she was my first or second 5-star. So cool. Firefly, shield duration from 4 to 6 seconds. Range decreased from 25 to 22, but no longer deals 50% damage in AoE, deals 100% damage, so that's pretty cool. First aid, healing doubled, ability 11 now 40% stronger, and shows health in tooltip, and the minions retarget 80% faster. This is probably one of the most underrated ones. This might bring him back into the war rotation as a second medic. I don't think he outshadows Minerva in any way, but maybe instead of Wheeljack's speed as from the second medic, maybe more shields could be interesting. Ironhide, taunt chance increased from 30 to 50. Cool. Huffer, this is funny. It's basically rewrote the tooltip so it can be understood. I went on a big deep dive to look for tooltip bugs in this, and it's really funny when I got to him because there's no numbers. So when I reported it, it was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. There's no numbers, so I'm glad his tooltip got rewrote. That's super nice. There's a lot of tooltip updates in this. I don't know if they're all covered in here, but yeah, super nice. One of my favorite parts about the update. Hound cost reduced from 6 plus 2 to 3 plus 2. Love that. I don't think he'll be in the war rotation. However, with the front-loaded bases with resource buildings, could be interesting. Some interesting strats out of that. Medic class, all medics regenerate 2% health every 5 seconds, not just Minerva, so I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's a great effect. Helps. Medics can't heal themselves, so them having their own self-heal helps them stay alive. Mirage, just like Cliff Jumper and Dust Up, he's 4 plus 1 to 4 plus 0. He's still ass. Jetfire Sky Striker, he doesn't have a 5-star, but cost reduction from 5 plus 2 to 4 plus 2, and range increased from 24 to 28. So cool. I don't. The 4-star isn't going to come into the war meta at all. So we already went over Omega's ability updates. A big fan, huge fan. I think he's one of my favorite combiners now. Optimus Maximus, taking damage stacks properly up to 4. Rockets now stack instead of refresh. I don't think. Yeah, I'm cool. I guess not gonna bring him into war rotation. Optimal Primal health boost scales 20% of max HP or 15 seconds at max rank. Cool, I guess. Power Glide rework, nice. We already went over that a little bit. Footage on Tuesday. Ratchet and Hook. Duration of shield increased from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. Love that. Healing increased by 35%. This is, I won't say underrated. It's, you can see what he does, but yeah, I love this change. He's not better than Minerva by any means, but closer, I guess. Red Alert passive is now 5 seconds, not 3. I'll have to double check what that is. It kind of sounds like a nerf, though, to be honest. Rhinox ability now correctly deals cryo damage. That's nice. Yeah, tools have updated. Rodimus Prime reduced damage taken from autocannons, lasers, shock towers, and miniguns. Cost reduced from 6+2 to 4+3. Love that. I think he's closer to Inferno now, but now instead of a tank, he's just special class, which is nice. Rust Dust ability range. This is one of the biggest buffs, and I don't know if it could bring her into the reward rotation. Ability range increased to match visuals and increased range to match skids, 19 to 24. I cannot state how huge the radius got increased. It's basically, if you can imagine Volcanicus's meteors, it's basically that big. It's I was already a fan of this bot. I love this so much. Sandstorm, G1 SA damage / heal bonuses now scale. Supply G1 now grants health. Cool. I don't think that really fundamentally changes him. Sea Spray. We'll go into him. He basically got nerfed into oblivion. He got stuck with the standardization stuff. I don't know, okay. Area range increased from 3 to 6 with Tornado when Tornado expires. So that's completely overshadowed by his nerf. That's not really a nerf, it's a bug fix, but it's just straight up a nerf, I won't lie. Skylinks and Blitzwing. Okay. Skylinks. Shield increased from 4 to 6. Cool, I guess. Skyburst, ability level and impact range increased for reliable adjacent hits. Disabled to 5 seconds. Cool, I guess. Sunstreaker, I love this one. Range 23 to 28. Cost reduced from 7+2 to 6+2. Love that. I know there's a few Sunstreaker users who have still been using this whole time, so I'm sure they'll love this. Get them more into the war rotation, I think. Snarl, this is a big rework. I'm very excited to play around with it, see how much it changed, but now grants attack and move speed buff. Speed reduced from 3.4 to 1.9. And health increased by 20%. Base 34,000 health. That's pretty good for a special class. Cost reduced from 4+3 to 3+2. Love that. Now gains plus 15% lifesteal during the ability, and movement and attack speed increased from 100% to 250. This sounds so fun. He's such a fun bot, like Cheetor, kind of. So if not in the war rotation, at least in events, I love this bot so much. He has a, yeah, I don't know. He's just one of those bots I love. I don't know. I don't have a specific reason why. He's just, I love him. Star Saber, cost decreased from 10+3 to 8+3. Nice. His cost has been outdated for quite a while now, so love to see that. Tasmania Kid, Omega Swipe now deals cryo damage. That's cool. Oh, I kind of skipped over this, but so now Cryo boosts electric damage by 30%. So Tasmania Kid having Cryo and electric damage kind of boosts his ability damage by 30%, which is kind of huge. Tigerhawk ability slows attack and move speed from Cryo, and damage on Cryo, cost reduction from 5+3 to 4+3. Love that. Tigerhawk is very underrated, so I don't know if it'll bring me to war, but yeah, great change, very underrated. Titan's passive immunity to all ability damage, so I think that's to counter people hitting him with Warpath, I believe, and maybe anyone else you can reach. Warpath is the main one I know. Impactor, move speed down from 2.7 to 2. I'm not very familiar with him. That sounds like a nerf. He just got slower, but we'll see. Maybe if any Impactor fans, maybe that makes him better. Optimal Optimus, disable passive duration cut from 15 seconds to 10 to tone down cast frequency. Ultra Magnus, we already went over this, so yeah, footage on Tuesday. Warrior changes. So Bulkhead doesn't have a 5-star, but cost reduced from 4+2 to 3+2, and he now has Cryo, which is awesome. Whenever he gets a 5-star option, I think that'll be super fun. She might be the new best one, to be honest. We'll go into that more later. Drift cost is kind of a nerf. Not kind of, it just is. Cost from 3+2 to 3+3. I don't use him much, so I don't have many thoughts on that. Pipes. I know this is gonna suck. A lot of people have him on his War Squad. His cost is now 3+1 instead of 3+2, and he no longer shows defenses. I know that it sucks. I hated it too. It's kind of a big positive though for all tanks to have standardized cost. I'll go into more details later, but it turns out to be one of my favorite things about this update, which I know it sucks. I know there's a lot of Pipes users. I have him as major. Just stay with me. I'll come back to that later. Tooltip up. Ironhide tooltip updated. No further changes. Goldfire gains plus 80% health on ability use. Love that. Basically, any rushing warrior that doesn't have a health or shield increase is just dead. So love to see him a little more relevant. Jumpstream. I think when she gets a 5-star version, I know I just said the same thing about Bulkhead, but she might be one of the better ones too. So cost from 4+1 to 3+1, and the reason she's cheaper is because she doesn't have an element. So yeah, she might, whenever she gets a 5-star, she might be one of the better warriors, which is cool. Hotspot. I used to use him so much back in the day. I'm really happy to see him come back into the rotation. So he now gains 80% health on charge, and he still has his reflection shield, so that's awesome. And his cost is now went from 4+2 to 3+3. I wish that was 3+2 like the others, because his reflection isn't 80%, so it's not like his reflection instead of a shield makes him better, warranting an extra ability point per use. But I am a fan of this. I still do like it. Sludge went from 5+3 to 4+2, like that. Inferno, he now gains a 30% health when rushing into combat. Again, all rushing warriors that don't have any protection are just kind of dead, so I love to see that. And Twin Twist now grants both attack and move speed to compensate for the fix. I don't think I'm going to go into the fixes, but yeah, just gonna move on. Combats, updates, or buffs. Bash Breaker, damage over time, now 15% for 5 seconds, which is 25% more per cast. Awesome. I already liked Bash Breaker. Dial. He is still ass. I don't know what you mean. I've left him at level 1 because I do not like him. But okay. Breath range increased from 2.3 to 4.5. Fire damage over time takes every 1 second. Self heal 15% to 50%. So he's not in the rotation at all by any means, but I guess he's more usable in events, maybe. I might increase him from level 1. We'll see. I'm a D1 Dilator. I don't I don't know. Fire Drive. A bunch of combats got looped into this. So Fire Drive, Cosmic Rust, Nightstick, Pinpointer, Corsair Shot, Spoil Sport, Styler, and Flak. They now boost all DPS types: Electric, Cryo, Acid, and Fire. That's awesome. Glitch and Gator Face, Glass Gas, scaling adjusted to 10, 20, 30, 40% for 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. I'd have to look at what that actually means for the lower levels. Night Stalker, enter stealth every 10 seconds for 5 seconds. Deal double damage while stealth. I'm not sure what the change was. Yeah, I like Night Stalker. He's fun. Victory Leo. This is not a big one, but I love it. It's a great change. Now affects all ranged special bots, so he can be equipped to all of them. But if you equip the Star Saber, grant an extra plus 15% health than you would equipping to anybody else. So, Victory Leo, I don't think that'll make him a war combat now, but I love the idea of combat being equipped to a whole class or specific type of bots. But then if they're equipped to one specific bot, they get an extra buff. I love the concept of that. I'm very interested in where they'll go with that. So you kind of saw some of the nerfs. I'm going to save that for another video. So that was a lot of changes. I think I just saw how long the document part of it was. It's like 20 minutes. This is going to be a long video. There's a lot to go over, a lot of buffs. So just going to stick with what I like about this update. I encourage you. I'll be going over what I don't like about all these buffs in the nerfs video and my negatives of the update. But just for now, sticking with the positives. So I know a lot of people are going to hate the pipes change. Again, I know, I get it. I hated it at first too. I have a major. I have heavily invested in him. However, this might be one of my favorite parts of the update after more time to look at it. So now all of the Rushing Warriors, or most of them at least, they have very similar stats for a very similar cost. Actually, for the most part, the same cost. So the main difference now is just really their elements. So Ironhide, the only difference between him and Slug is Ironhide Electric, Slug Fire. Grimlock, best stats but no elements with his ability. Armada, I don't really, what's his splash damage, I guess. He doesn't really have an element. Pipes, Acid, Hotspot, normal damage, but he has Reflection. Nosicone, he has Reflection too, and he takes out walls. So I don't really have a confident, like, Pipes was no debate the best warrior for quite a while. Whenever he got his 3+1 buff. So that's basically just being taken away. So now he's 3+2 like everybody else. And they're all of these warriors that I mentioned, not only are they equal, but they're all usable. If you have one of these warriors, you can use them in war. They're a viable option. They're all on the same level now, which is why it's one of my favorite parts. I won't go into all the bots that are now in the war rotation, but again, one of my favorite things from this update. It's a little hard to judge with easy war effects. I'm not sure who will still be viable once they go back to normal, or even maybe harder in the future. But at least for now, one of my favorite parts is that there are so many more options to use in war. Right now there's like a meta blueprint, and you might make a few changes, but for the most part, a lot of top tier Dream War squads look very similar. Like if you go to the blueprint of what it looks like usually at least 5 of the bots, likely 6, are all the same. Um, so I think that'll change going forward with these updates or with the balance update. So I love that. It's probably my favorite part, aside from the individual changes. Again, brainstorm. I love that. I think yeah. So the big ones were brainstorm, rust dust, first aid, and ratchet. Those were kind of the big ones that stuck out to me. Some of the warriors like Jumpstream and Bulkhead, when they get the 5-star versions, I think they'll get more love. But for now, they're still kind of stuck in the 4-star um, irrelevant tier, kind of. So that kind of covers everything I love about this update. And basically just more options and more now, which is amazing. Lots of buffs. Next video, we're gonna go over the nerfs and what I don't like about this update. So if you're watching, it's probably already up. If you're watching this right, like within 30 minutes of me posting this, it's probably not. Stay posted. I'll post it soon. So lots of info. I think everybody who watches this will learn something. So if you learn something, please leave a like. If you keep coming back, it's ever be appreciated. And I'll see you next time.